Welcome to the WMBD. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines on the WMBD Plus app. It's Tuesday, y'all.
It is Tuesday.
Where we break down today's local news stories with our very own reporters. I'm Brianna Rittman.
And I'm Alex Berger. Today we're talking about local restaurants and their recent impact on Peoria's economy. Then we're talking about how Bloomington City leaders are prioritizing housing preservation.
And lastly, we're honoring Black History Month, bringing you a story about the first African-American military pilots. Now, our first story of the day has Alex in the hot seat. Foot traffic is picking up in a big way for area businesses as of late.
That's right.
So, Alex, what's bringing in money to the area?
That's right. We're seeing a big economic impact here in the Peoria area. There's a number of factors that's kind of playing into this. One of them is that's right. A lot of bars, restaurants, and even coffee shops are seeing a lot of economic impact, a lot of influx of dollars and customers walking into their business and buying things. Obviously, you see on the screen is the Illinois Music Education Conference. That is a huge conference at the Civic Center, and it brings in tens of thousands of people to the Peoria area, staying in hotels, buying food at restaurants, and just people being in the Peoria area in general and going to little shops, anything like that. And so there's just been an influx of that. Also, now that it's starting to warm up a little bit, you know, like today and whatnot, it's starting to not be January, right? And so people are, getting out a little more in the last couple of weeks or so, and there's just kind of been an influx in dollars.
That's nice. I think one time I went out there when the governor's tourism conference was out in the Civic Center. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
So who did you speak to today, and what did they have to say about all of this?
That's right. I spoke to a couple people. One, I spoke to J.D. Delfonso, who's the president and CEO of Discover Peoria. Talked about just kind of what this means for tourism in Peoria. Now, there's also something where it is residential tourism, where obviously this weekend it's Valentine's Day, and any holiday weekend, or I should say any holiday where it falls on a weekend, that is where it's residential tourism, where people will go out in their own, area, neighborhood, town, city, and spend money at the local businesses for that holiday. So obviously we have Valentine's Day on a Saturday, which is huge for restaurants and people going out, spending money, places will be packed, and it's going to be huge for that. And then I also spoke to Ty Paluska, who owns Intuition Coffee, and he spoke about how they've seen an influx in foot traffic. They've seen an influx in customers because of this conference, because it's now February where their business starts to ramp up, and they are, preparing for spring and all that, but with that conference, they've seen people come in more and more and more, and they've always seen, like a high amount of people come in because of the conference, and they tell their friends, and those friends come to the coffee shop. In the cold, everybody's getting lattes. Right. Obviously, some people have other choices of coffees, but the main one that a lot of people get in the cold is lattes. And then, when it heats up, the weather, people get cold lattes, but a lot of hot lattes being made.
With Valentine's Day being on a Saturday, I'm sure the Heights, they got that candle making place. I'm sure they are packed this weekend. That is a very cute idea. I'm sure. Whether Galentine's or with your lover, whatever. I'm pretty sure they're packed.
Yeah, whether you celebrate or not, there's got to be a business for you that you can find and enjoy in some way.
Right. So what does this mean? What's next for these businesses?
Yeah, they're preparing for an even busier spring. Obviously, with Friday ramping it up. Intuition, Ty said that January is their slowest month. And so with the IMAC falling at the end of the month, that is a nice little bridge. And it bridges the gap between January and February to when their actual, business starts to ramp up. More people start to go into the shop and, buy products, whether it be bags of coffee or just regular coffee.
Right, this is we're all recovering our finances from December. Christmas. January, we need to regroup, build up the savings again.
Exactly right.
All right, well, thank you, Alice, for breaking that down for us. Here's a story that reminds us of producer Sarah. We all know that guy or that girl, the person who just can't hush their mouth. Sarah. Oh, man. It's not that Sarah can't hush. Sarah's voice is just very elevated.
She's very passionate.
Very. It's like right here. It's up to here. On a scale of 10, it's at a 15. Exactly. So how do you politely get them to zip it? Experts say to use big 3 rule. What if there are what if they're like your boss or something? Like, how, does this
Right.
work? First off, be polite to yourself. Remember,
Okay.
it's okay to want someone to stop talking and let you speak.
Wow.
Oh, that's different. If you're interrupting me, then the gloves are off. Remind yourself that you're also worthy of being part of the conversation. Just kidding. Secondly, use their name. Research shows people respond better when you address them directly by name. Yes, because people just be in their zone. I do have to do that with Sarah sometimes.
Oh, man.
And third, redirect, bring the yapper back to center. If they went off on a tangent, jump in there. Add your own original thought to the conversation. No,
Wow.
plenty of people like that. I'm probably one of them too, depending on the conversation. I think we all have our moments.
Exactly. If I get started on board games or if I get started on any of my interests, I definitely turn into a yapper. And I turn
Right.
into someone where people are like, that's when people start to say my name. They're like, Alex, you have to.
Like, bring it in.
Exactly, exactly. But I think the important thing is finding those people that want to hear, about your interests
Yes.
and about what you love. So I think, being a yapper can be a good thing.
That's one of the reasons I tell people I love my job, because I may not understand everything, but
Right.
whoever I'm speaking to, they're a specialist in whatever, they're the expert in whatever they're talking about, and I just let them go. I hit record, I hit play, I ask the question, and I don't care what it's about. Soybeans, we could talk about tourism, numbers, whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
she asked who's the biggest yapper in the newsroom.
I'll self-report here, right? I think I could probably be the biggest yapper.
Again, we're journalists. We work in
Yep.
communications. I think we are all guilty of being a yapper,
Absolutely.
depending on what the subject is. Now, some people can just yap about almost anything and everything, but everybody has that one thing.
Exactly.
Maybe two.
Once we know it's time to work, then we put our heads down.
We pivot back.
Nose to the grind. So.
Right. Well, when we come back on Beyond the Headlines, we've got Austin Feeman live from the Twin Cities to talk about a grant that will help with restoring houses in Bloomington. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Another big local story of the day, the city of Bloomington receiving over $600 in a grant for housing improvements and rehabilitation.
It's Tuesday, y'all. $600,000.
Yeah. Oh, man.
WVD's Austin Feeman joins us now from our Twin Cities newsroom to tell us more about the grant and how it will help with the housing crisis in Bloomington. So, Austin, what exactly is the grant going to be used for?
Yes, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Brianna. And yes, it is $600,000, over $600,000 in this grant that the city will be receiving. This is the 52nd year in a row that the city will be receiving it. Basically, what this is for is to rehab, renovate, and preserve current homes in the city of Bloomington. And I'd like to make the point that it's not new homes. There's no new homes being built from this grant. This grant is strictly to preserve old homes, renovate older homes that may need a little bit of a facelift, or completely destroy some homes that are just not livable anymore. Now, about 70% of the funds are going to be going to the housing initiatives that the city will be doing. The other part of it, another good chunk of it, will be going to Home Sweet Home Ministries, and they will be doing their own thing with that money.
Austin, I gotta give it to you. The B-roll is cool, man. Like the zoom out on the houses, I really like that. But also, second question for you. This is a big grant. How is Home Sweet Home Ministries going to use it?
Yeah, so Home Sweet Home Ministries uses this grant money to fund their street outreach program. Now, this is only the second or third year that Home Sweet Home has received this grant money. Before they're receiving this street outreach program was not a thing. They were not able to do it with the funds that they currently had, but with these new funds, they were able to start this new program where they go out on the streets, they reach out to homeless people on the streets, they literally go to them because, sometimes homeless people are just worried about surviving. They don't have the energy or the time to go across town to get help. So Home Sweet Home is going to them, going to them so they can get help and start that process of housing them. Now that process takes a very long time, but the sooner the better. Now, like I said, they weren't able to do this before, but now they are able to do it with this grant money, which is going to kind of help the homeless homelessness situation in Bloomington.
Okay, Austin, real quick before we go, how will this help the housing crisis in Bloomington?
Yeah, so this is going to bring a lot of more affordable and livable homes to Bloomington. I know a lot of the homes in Bloomington are a little battered down or beaten. This grant is going to really revamp those homes and make it affordable for people in lower to middle incomes to be able to live in. But like I said, this is not going to help the missing middle gap. Because there's no new homes being built. This is really just low-income homes that are being revamped that already exist for people to live in.
All right, well, Austin, thank you for giving us that update. Now, many are still talking about like Sarah, are still talking about the halftime show from Sunday's big game. As for the breakout stars, some say they didn't show their faces, but they earned a pretty good paycheck for their work. Bad Bunny helped to set the scene with dozens of people dressed as bushes, which made for quite the image as they shuffled on and off the field. According to one source, those performers received just more than $1,300. In addition to the performance itself, they went through 70 total hours with rehearsals and prep time. Bad Bunny himself didn't draw a payout despite being the headliner.
You know,
yeah,
really,
Super Bowl halftime performers never take money.
Exactly. No, I'm really interested in how they got involved with this.
Right.
Like, what was the application process to be able to...
Some people say you had to play a tree when you were in kindergarten, like, or in elementary school. That was a requirement.
Oh, my gosh.
Just kidding.
Oh, I've seen
people
wow.
say that, though. That's what their thing was like. Unfortunately, you had to play the tree in the elementary school play. I was cool.
But with an artist like Bad Bunny, I'd gladly play a tree.
Right.
To be that close to that kind of performance and how cool that was, I would definitely.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other side characters, the ones that were allowed to show their faces. The one thing I keep talking about is somebody said their grandpa was like, I have errands to run today.
Yeah.
And that was his errand. He was one of the people, like when they were dressed in all white, he was one of those people. He was at the Super
Talk
Bowl.
about errands. Wow.
I'm like, that is such a grandfather thing to do.
Yeah,
Like, all right, I'll be right back. But you know, there's so many stories over the years that we've seen of like posts of people, like their parents run into somebody at the gas station, the gym, or the airport, and they're like, hey, I ran into this one person. They say they're famous. Then you're like, so you met.
Yeah.
Like,
So-and-so.
Like, you met this person, and it's like, wow. So their grandfather's errand was that they had to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's how about that? Well, we've got one more story for you when we return on Beyond the Headlines. We're going to continue to honor Black History Month, bring you a story about the first African-American military pilots. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. WMBD is continuing to honor Black History Month. Now, the Tuskegee Airmen were the first African-American military pilots breaking barriers during World War II.
That's right. Their story is now on display in the Miami Valley at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force in Ohio. Lee Jeffries shares how the legacy of these men is being preserved and passed on to the next generation of aviators as we celebrate Black History Month.
There were a lot of African Americans who were enrolled in that institution, and then it was just a natural transition for them to enter the training to become a military pilot and eventually become the Tuskegee Airmen.
Trained during World War II, the airmen flew missions across Europe and North Africa, stepping up when the country needed every hand on deck.
Their mission was to escort those bombers to the target and make sure that they were successfully able to drop their bombs. So they had two missions, primarily initially a ground component, but then they went to escorting bombers on long-range strategic missions.
The National Museum of the U.S. Air Force hosts all four types of aircrafts flown by the Tuskegee Airmen, including the iconic North American P-51 Mustang.
And finally they made their way to the P-51, which is probably their most famous aircraft, kind of the sports car of all fighter aircraft at the time. They had a distinctive red tail on that one. Our aircraft does not have that red tail, but we have their legacy represented throughout.
The Tuskegee Airmen's mission goes far beyond museum walls.
When they went around and spoke, it would be about their legacy and what they accomplished in World War II. But as the years went by and the numbers started to dwindle, then we started focusing on careers in aerospace.
Gregory Edmonds is president of the Ohio Memorial Chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen. He is the first non-veteran to lead the chapter, helping inspire young African Americans to pursue careers once out of reach.
This will be our 18th year in 2026, exposing children ages 12 through 18 in a summer day camp to careers in aerospace.
Gregory wants young people to take the same approach, rise above, and don't take no for an answer.
You now have many options, many more options to choose from. Take advantage of it and don't waste their legacy.
Wow, how about that? That's really,
amazing.
Really cool. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how that was able to influence, further education and getting, younger people involved in the day camps and, kind of putting the aerospace actual careers
out
in
there.
the forefront. Yeah,
Right.
and obviously the Washington football team was almost named the Red Tails. I thought that was that would have been a cool way to. Before they were named the Commanders, obviously they had the long list of names that they were going to go with. One was Red Wolves, but I really liked Red Tails. I thought that would have been cool to kind of honor that. But I understand Commanders, but that's when I first learned about
the Red Tails.
Yeah,
about the Tuskegee Airmen. Wow. So have you seen both movies or just Red Tails? Because there's the original Tuskegee Airmen movie, and then with Lawrence Fishburne in it, and then the Red Tails.
I think that was when he still went by Larry Fishburne, if I'm not wrong. But yes, only the first one. Only the first one.
So you haven't seen Red Tails?
I have not.
Oh, Alex, Terrence Howard's in there. I know we were talking about him with the Michael Jackson movie. He's also in that one. My favorite scene in the first one is when they were having some engine trouble, and it was a group of prisoners, and and it was a group of black prisoners, and so they were clearing the way so the planes could land, and then they realized, like, oh my gosh, these are black pilots.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? And
the
so
shock on their faces.
Right. It was such a great and inspirational that, I mean, even though they were in a what was considered a chain gang at the time, that just gave them hope to be like, there's more than just what I'm doing, and probably inspired many people. That's one of my favorite scenes. But you have to watch Red Tails as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge historical significance on that as well. Now, turning gears now, for the first time in 25 years, an iconic musical heads back to Peoria at the Prairie Home Alliance Theater tonight. Les Miserables unloaded all set equipment on almost a dozen semis this morning at the Civic Center. The performance has been shown all over the world, including in 53 countries and 438 cities. Les Mis has won 8 Tony Awards over the years. Stage manager says the set does not change from each stage they performed at on the tour. I love Les Mis. Actually, now, I'm not a big musical guy. My mom directs musicals, but I'm not like I'm a play guy. So like when it comes to theater, I like more like plays. But Les Mis is on a short list of like musicals I really enjoy. It was actually besides Marley and Me, the first movie I actually like cried at. Because I was it's heavy stuff. It's not I wouldn't really say it's for kids. It's really some heavy source material, but it's a really, really powerful musical about,
I'm gonna have to check it out one day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Okay. Speaking of theater, though, your Cornstalk people were here earlier today in my 4 o'clock show.
They were. Yes.
Trish
I did.
said hello.
I did see it. You say the truth says hello.
Trish says hello.
Oh, Trish says hello. Yes. Well, the funny thing is that Jeremiah's alternate name is The Truth.
Oh,
so
really?
Jeremiah the Truth Pinkins. So that's what we've always called him. But yeah, I think doing a show like Les Mis at Cornstalk would be so cool. And I would definitely try out for that. Yeah.
Nice.
There's just there's so many great lead male parts in that that it would have to
I've read the synopsis of it, so I'm definitely intrigued. I'm a reader, so I read the synopsis. I read the scripts and everything. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this.
The movie is great too. Well, thank you so much for joining us for today's Beyond the Headlines.
You can find all these stories and more on our website, ciproud.com.
For breaking news and weather updates 24/7, log on to ciproud.com and download the free CI Proud to Go mobile app.